Hello, hello, and welcome back, guys, to Cast 3 in the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. My name is Guile. I'll be your host for this evening. This replay is actually one of the new ones, so this is a FAF 3613 patch game. So, for all of you who might be getting sick of the last two watching old vids, this is a brand new, fresh one. And this was actually sent to me by TA4life. You can see he's playing as the blue Aeon at the bottom. TA4life has been casting games for quite a long time. He's got some great instructional vids as well for newbies. So if you want to learn the ins and outs of basic base building and that kind of thing, log on to his channel. You can find that at Supreme Commander FA Gameplay. If you just type that into YouTube, that should bring it up. If you have any questions about whether that's actually his channel, his YouTube name is Praise Google Our Master, so that's pretty hard to miss. This particular map, actually, I really like. I've never actually played on this map. It's basically, I don't know if you can spot it, but it's open palms after some cataclysmic global warming disaster. Maybe there's been too many commanders on this planet building hydrocarbons or whatever, and they've had massive ice water melt. But yeah, basically you can see the sea levels have risen, so you've got this kind of the lowlands have all been surrounded by waters, and what were these kind of previous highland bits up here on the sides and in the centre are now kind of these little beachy areas. And I guess there's been some erosion because this used to be kind of a mountainous ring, but this is now buildable flat land. But yeah, very inventive map design. Big fan, and this is one of the ones on the ladder match pool, so this will be a 1v1 ladder match. And his TA4life's opponent will be the red Cybrin up top here, Carl. I've seen him play a few games here and there. He's been doing a lot of laddering recently, and both these players pretty darn proficient in their fields. So it's kind of interesting. TA4life has probably chosen an opening start that I would have gone for on a map like this. He's open with the air factory, so you can do some early bomber harass, or at least do something of some use, whereas this kind of, I don't know, I don't really see the point of opening with a land factory on this side of things, but each to their own. He preempted it very, very nicely. He knew that first bomb was likely to come in, so he built a little Tech 1 anti-air turret, and that brushed that bomber aside with very little difficulty. That's going to be interesting. You can see TA is going to make a play for the what looks like either the mid island or the side island nice and early, but he's gonna trek it. He's going to go on foot, deciding not to spend any time on transports. Whereas it does look like Carl is, yep, he's built a little transport, so you can bet he's going to be making a play for one of these side islands or the centre nice and soon. The FAF is doing well, guys. On another note, we're having lots and lots of concurrent users on board, but if you haven't already downloaded the client, if you're new to these streams, please, please, please log on, download the client from the comment section below and log on, because honestly, it's a way better client than GPG used to be, in my opinion. It's got loads of players, and we just need to get the community growing, get more people out there on there putting games up and enjoying the richness that is FA, because this game, and as I've said before in previous streams, is by far and away, in my opinion, the best strategy game ever made. There's so much depth to it, so many different ways you can win a game, which can't really be said, in my opinion, for lots of other strategy games out there, certainly recently. But I like this play. He's basically going really, really hard and fast with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 T1 engineers with that airlift. You can see very, very ambitious build queue for this one poor engineer for TA. He's got a lot to do. I don't know if he's going to manage it, but this is really going to set Carl up for a nice start on this bottom left island. TA actually electing to take his commander up to the top island. I do like that play, but unusually Carl's deciding to not let his commander get involved. He's going to sit back, help his base section get macroed up, put that build power into there. I guess that's where he really feels he wants it to be. But so far we've got a few interceptors coming out from both sides, but it's definitely in favour of TA. Perhaps he's looking to get some kind of early air superiority over. I don't know whether he's going to do any more Tech 1 bomber harass or what have you. Like I did say in the last stream, there's been a lot of people discussing on the forums about the balance of T1 bombers. Personally, I think they're balanced. I don't really see they need to be changed. They are easy to counter, as you saw with that nice T1 anti-air turret that Carl put up. But yeah, so it's a little fracas going off down here, a couple of T1 interceptors, and Carl not ready to give up the air just yet. Both players have their naval factories out, and you really get the feeling on a map like this, Navy is going to be key. But that sub just getting out a little bit earlier for TA. He's just going to focus on these engineers. A little torpedo turret queued up there to try and deal with this sub. I doubt the sub is going to be able to take out this factory before that gets built, but we'll see. But absolutely mobbed down here on the bottom island. That one engineer was just not going to have the build power to make any significant inroads on here, as opposed to fighting off 6 engineers. And it looks like Carl's going to take an early secure on this bottom island. But over here, oh, it's a transport full of engineers that just bit the dust. That's quite the hero T1 interceptor there. He's going to be painting 6 little engineered shapes on the side of his cockpit to show the number of kills he's got. But yeah, I can see, aha, this is going to be interesting. While the forces are down here, TA is going to do a drop with some engineers. He's got a decent number this time. That looks like a transport full of 6. And he's going to try and create some kind of reinforced beachhead on this side. But yeah, we'll just have to see how that pans out. T1 bomber harassed, desperately trying to do something of some worth. Carl's trying to shoot that down, but not managing it. It's just too much Tech 1 air from TA. And TA really taking a hold of this now. He's secured the middle. He looks like he's going to secure the top island, and he's got this beachhead on the lower island down here. And Carl really needs to be careful. He doesn't want to let this get away from him, because it can happen so easily. Mass, as everybody knows, really is the key in Forged Alliance. It's your biggest bottleneck in resources, and if you let your opponent take over too much of the map, you're just not going to have enough to take it back. You can see him desperately trying to shoot down that transport, but he's too late, Carl. The engineers have landed, and now they're going to be quite happily tinkering away there, building up a base on the top island, and there's really nothing he can do about that. Some interesting play happening down the bottom. Factory spam going up. He's working on some T1 PD, but we are going to have the forces coming in now from Carl. He's recognised the threat. He's got a little anti-air in there, but most importantly, it's not just Mantis spam. He has got these T1 light artilleries, and they're going to be able to deal with the point defence nicely. There it goes. And he just didn't have enough factories up quickly enough. It's a real tall order. I like the idea of bringing it in while the forces were down here, but I think you probably would have needed 2 transports full of engineers to do that effectively, or either that or your opponent would have to be completely asleep. But yeah, I don't know, but that's not going to last very long. You're going to have the Mantis spam coming in to finish off that turret. Yes, there's one more back here, and an anti-air going up. These engineers are going to get cleaned out, and that's going to be the end of that little push, I feel. But look at the amount of blue on the map, though. TA is definitely ahead on the resource game. If we have a look at the income, he's sitting around the 71 mass mark. Carl on the 61 mass mark, so it's a pretty significant deficit. And he's made a very cheeky little drop here on the front of Carl's base. It's yeah, that's really quite abusive. The land completely blocking the shots from these frigates, so they can't do anything to these engineers. Which is it's interesting to know. Then I shall be remembering that for my games. It's literally nothing they can do. But this has now been teched up to Tech 2. That could cause some serious problems. It looks like he's working on a destroyer. I can never really tell with Cyber and the destroyers and the cruisers look pretty similar to me, but yeah, I think that's a destroyer. But still, Carl's tidying this up, but he's definitely on the back foot. He might have secured this area down here, but he's had to put a lot of mass into these kind of Tech 1 units, which aren't amphibious, obviously, for Cybran. They are literally stuck there, bar an airlift. It just looks like TA is desperately trying to deny this naval production, because this could be a problem for him. I mean, TA's sitting on Tech 1 Navy, and he's not really got anything that he can deal with it that well. I mean, you can see he's pushing really hard with some Tech 1 subs, Tech 1 frigates, but Navy units are so strong, pound for pound. They're so much better than any other kind of air unit or land unit. They're more expensive as a result, certainly, and obviously they're generally limited by where they can go, but that's not necessarily the case with Cybran, obviously, because their destroyers just sprout legs and they say, I go where I please. But yeah, this deny just not working out for him at the moment. There, that goes. There's a destroyer. So that probably was a cruiser before. Yep. And they really are so good. You can see a Tech 1 frigate stands no chance against that. And even the subs. I mean, these guys they fire torpedoes. They've got torpedo defense. They're amphibious. So if they bombarded everything to death on the shoreline of your base, they'll just sprout legs and go, no, I'm not done yet. And yeah, it's a real annoyance. I don't play Cybran very often myself, but I certainly come up against that all the time on these kind of ocean maps. It's a real headache. But now air superiority not really looking in anyone's particular favour. You've got a few decent air interceptors. Most of the air actually for TA seems to be in the form of T1 bombers now. I'm not sure what his next plan will be. It's perhaps coinciding with trying to deny this naval base. But he's going to be careful, because obviously this destroyer is just outclassing pretty much everything else down here. It's just going to be able to take out everything. Any air that comes at it, any subs. He's got a few T1 subs with it down here, and a counter-intelligence boat, which is always fun. Such, you have a look if that's just scrambling him at all. Well, there's no actual radar coverage up for TA at the moment, because he's completely out of power. Makes me wonder if he's building anything significant or going for an upgrade. We shall see. But still, massing Tech 1 units on this side. He's obviously concerned about any more drops. He desperately wants to hold onto this side, because he's aware that he's lost the middle and this top island. So he is behind. But yeah, a few T2 gunships coming out now to try and deal with this navy. Perhaps do some harass on this bottom island. See him desperately trying to build some anti-air turrets to deal with it. They're going up all over the place. But that's a lot of T1 interceptors, and that's going to be trouble for TA. They're going to get tied up nice and easily. But look at the range on this cruiser that's out now. It's just casually popping things as they go past. He's actually spanned up a T1 TAC missile defense, so it's kind of intuitive timing that this cruiser's come out, or fortuitous I should say, because that's packing TAC missile defense, and that's going to be able to zap down any missiles that come over it. Yep, 2 shots, there we go. Again, still trying to push with the T1. He's committed his resources elsewhere, obviously. But now he's pushed these back. I'd love to see him focus fire on the naval facility and fire some TAC missiles at it, try and take it out that way. Not sure he's going to, or how many missiles he's got. He hasn't got any missiles actually in there. One's queued up to launch already. There it goes. Interesting, he's going after the mass. That would be my decision. I think his biggest threat at this point is definitely this naval facility. Let's have a look at what TA can actually see of the opponent's island. He's got his radar back up now. I guess he feels that he's got him pretty well hemmed in. Yes, he's lost this bottom island, but he knows he's ahead. He's just trying to deplete as much mass as possible from his opponent, which is, in all honesty, is a pretty fair strat. That's generally what you try and do in most games. But I just think if he doesn't take care of this, it's going to give him headaches. See, he's still sitting on the 71 mass mark. Carl is on 79 mass, so he's actually teched up. I'm not sure where he's done that, but He's ahead on mass, which is quite interesting considering the amount of extra ground that TA has. Obviously, TA hasn't bothered upgrading his mass extractors just yet to any significant degree. Look at this cruiser though, just destroying everything. TA favouring the swift winds are the T2 fighters for Aeon. Unlike the other races, they're not fighter bombers, they can't attack land, but they are superior in the air to the other T2 fighters from the other races. It's just hoping to give a little extra cover to these gunships so they can get in there and do some more damage and deny some more mass. Interesting, just trying to get as much mass as possible off the wrecks from the front of Carl's base. Not worried about losing the engineers, as he inevitably will do. Gunships coming in now, still trying to take out as much mass as possible. And doing a pretty proficient job, it has to be said. There's not a lot of anti-air up this side of things. Obviously has to keep away from the middle because they've got these long banks of anti-air down here, which should even eat T2 gunships alive. 4 missiles now, an attack missile launcher. But there's a bit of a breakout happening now. And if this Navy is continued to allow to build up, I mean, he's still not on, TA's still not on T2 Navy. He really needs to think about spending some money, or some mass I should say, on teching up and getting some sub-hunters out there, getting back to the sea superiority. But these Crosshairs doing a nice job now on the main base. There's absolutely no defences whatsoever on there, so they've just been going around. Looks like they've been denying power and a few other structures. Interestingly, Scepter's still concerned with protecting these gunships. Well, I don't really think there's a massive amount that can hurt them. Should really just assign a few fighters to it and get the rest over here to protect his base. But there is a lot going on. He's got Crosshairs up here, he's got Navy happening over here. So from TA's perspective, it's a pretty serious amount of multitasking going on. Which is usually where I come across with these kind of things. I like nice thin long maps where I know where the enemy's coming from. I only have to move in one direction. But this is real trouble for him now, because look at this. He's going to be destroying all these engineers. This is his T2 air factory where all of his production is coming from for gaining superiority in the air. All of this mass is going to go. This T1 radar, these power plants, because of course even when it's out of range everything's been destroyed. These destroyers are just going to go, you know what, I'm not done, yep, here we go, and legs. Oh, cyber. Anyway, the amount of time that's happened to me, it's actually a real problem on maps as well, like Seaton, when you've got Seaton's Clutch, when you've got a Cybern that wins its naval side and you're sitting in the middle. But a huge push, gunship push now from TA, desperately trying to deny as much as possible. Perhaps maybe needs to think about wanting to focus some of these TAC missiles defences out. No, he's just going after power. How much of an effect is that having on his economy? Not too much, he's got a lot of reserve power. Focusing on mass at this point in time would probably be more productive, but that is it's easy for me to say when I can see everything. TA4life definitely trying to reinforce his T1 Navy with shields. He has teched up to T2 now, and he is producing submarine hunters. And that's not before time, because I think he's going to need it, because we've got 3 more destroyers over here, and that could really make a mess of you. Got their anti-air, so gunships aren't nearly as effective as they should be. And don't get me wrong, the anti-air isn't fantastic, but in enough numbers it can generally deal with things, especially if he mixes in some cruisers with it. Much more effective at anti-air. I'm intrigued he didn't decide to push up with his destroyers up here. He left these two T2 power gens up. I feel that was a bit of a mistake. But that probably wouldn't have made that much difference. It looks like TA's got a lot of power reserves. There's a lot of T1 engineers on the field right now for Carl. And I know it's useful for build power, but I sort of feel he might be overproducing somewhat. Might be a little bit unnecessary. See the center island now completely cleared out. So Khan's actually done a fantastic job here with his navy. He's completely evened up the game from what was a pretty significant deficit at the start. TA really needs to find an answer for it. He's got some sub-hunters on the field now. How many are we looking at? So he's got about 5. So he's at least managed to shut down this area, and it's so important, being as most of his economy and production seems to be coming out of this side of the map. Continue crosshair harass isn't going to do a great deal. I guess it's more scouting. You see, TA's actually started work on a Colossus. Now that could be a game changer if you can get it finished, but look at all these crosshairs coming in now, attempting to deny this power and potentially put some damage on the ACU. There is a SAM launcher there though, so they are going to be popped off one by one. Shield does go down. Still 6 crosshairs, 5 crosshairs on the field. I'm not sure they're going to have enough to do this. Yeah, with mobile shield gens coming in, that's a nice play. 3 more, 4 more coming in. No, 3 more, and that's going to be the end of that. Look how much range he's got now. He's packing 3 cruisers up front with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 destroyers, 6 destroyers in reserve. Still pumping out the crosshairs. Look how many T1 engineers. This is, I feel like he's wasted a lot of mass. I mean, let's have a look here. He's got 390 Tech 1 engineers. That's a little excessive, and he's not even using. I mean, this is just basically redundant. Let's have a look here on how much it is. So it's 52 mass for a T1 engineers. We'll just get my calculator out. That's just shy of, it's about 20,500 mass, and a Monkey Lord is 21,000. So I feel like he could have been doing something a little bit more with that mass. I mean, admittedly, you want to build power, but you don't really want to be spending that much. I mean, you could use a decent proportion of that to get up a T3 air factory with some hives around it, spamming out the air superiority fighters. Because if he had air superiority and this naval superiority he's had for much of the game, I think TA would have to submit this one. But I guess he feels like, yeah, he wants the build power. I mean, certainly over here they've been very useful, T2 factory, but down here this is just wasted mass. And he's got even more up here. I feel like maybe there's been so much going on this game, he set more building than he might have realised, or. But he could have, alternatively, could have set some naval factories up here, increase his naval superiority. That would be nice. Colossus half done for TA. Still trying to harvest as many wrecks as he can, sacrificing these engineers. Trying to get that Colossus finished as soon as possible. Very much an even game at the moment, but what really concerns me is that Navy. That Navy could be a game changer right there. If you can put it to decent use, before this Colossus gets finished. But he really hasn't got a lot of time. Look at that, we're at 75,000 HP out of the 100,000 basically that takes to complete it. Let's see how many sub-hunters TA's got now. Sitting on 10, so a reasonable number. And really, he's just building up at this point. He wants to wait till he's got a critical mass of sub-hunters, and then next time this fleet tries to do something, they're going to engage. But the problem, once again, with the Cyber Navy is if that happens too near one of these beaches, yes, you can snipe the cruisers, but the destroyers are just going to go, "What, I don't want to play," and they're going to go and waltz through his base up here, and they're going to be completely safe from all those sub-hunters. So he needs to really do that before they get over there. It looks like that's where they're headed, trying to deny this T2 factory stopping it pumping out any more sub-hunters. Nice work down here. He sniped the bottom section of this mass. He's protected by his T2 fighters there, but he's got some T1 coming in. They're going to be tided out without too much difficulty. I think he's going to be able to finish off these gunships. He will see them away for the moment. But over here, looks like this factory is done for. Yep, there it goes. It's kind of a problem now, because he's only got one T2 factory TA for the naval production. He's also going to lose all this mass and another T2 air facility. So he is kind of being pushed back. He's doing some nice harass and things down here, but he's definitely on the back foot. But he's got definitely a decent amount now. He's sitting at 15 subs. And they really, really are so effective. And the commander's making an interesting move over there. He's finished the Colossus, and this really will spell trouble. He's got nothing really to defend against it. He is working on a monkey lord, but that's literally only just been started. That won't be finished by the time he gets there. TA's, it's an interesting move. I guess he's concerned about this fleet. I personally would have left my commander over here. I'm not sure where he's going. I guess he's trying to set up some fire base down here while Carl's been distracted. And there's nothing like a GC walking towards your unprotected base to really distract you. And he's managed to see off this little fleet over here. There's so many subs on the field now. These destroyers might have torpedo defense, but it's not going to do a lot. This GC already up to 59 kills, 60 kills, and it's going to absolutely score it. This is like free leveling right here. Look at this. Pop, 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 pop. Up to 100 kills already. There's his second level. Really needs to take out. I really want him to take out this factory. It's been sitting there all game. It's the one thing that's really been doing damage to it. Sucking up engineers. Like, it's going out of fashion. He missed one. He missed two. The luckiest engineers in history. There's something wrong with your magnetic arm cannons, GC. Interesting, he's decided to evacuate with his commander. I do apologise, I've been so intrigued on the fight. I've missed what's going on here, but I'm pretty sure these harms, so good, so strong at anti-navy, probably just decimated all of the Tech 2 subs. You can see this destroyer's just gone on, he's going to finish up the rest of this North Island. And although this Colossus has done a lot of damage, I don't know, TA still kind of looks behind at this point. He hasn't got a lot of building, he hasn't been focusing a lot of building down here on his main start point, but get enough subs out to fend this off, he'll be in a reasonable position. Carl just trying to hide his commander away from things. You see down here, TA's got a stealth field up and a T1 radar. Accidentally shot at a few mass points. A little early, it's perhaps given the game away. TA having power issues. course, all of his main facilities were up here, so he's really, really hurting for power now. This could be a problem. He needs to... Oh dear, that's not good at all. He's got crosshairs on him from the air, he's got destroyers closing in him from the beach. He's completely sandwiched, he can't go anywhere else. I really wouldn't have taken my commander over this way. But Carl's come to join him on the same island, but the GC has followed him from his base. Oh my goodness, TA is really under fire now. It's a question of how much can he take, and whether this Colossus can actually... I don't know whether he knows that that's where... He doesn't know that's where he is, but he would have seen him going in that direction from the sea. TA now down to 7,000 HP. I like this play, he's bringing in the shields to try and help. GC now very, very close to Carl. This is ridiculous. This could be a photo finish. Oh, oh, power gone. No power. Oh, he's... Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, goodness me. Right, I'm sorry I got so excited there, but that was, that was ridiculous. Anyway, guys, that's enough from me for now. I hope you enjoyed that replay. I really did. That's an absolutely classic game. I can see why TA sent me that one. Do stay tuned for more. I'll be bringing more out over the next few days. I don't know whether they'll all be as close and as exciting as that one, but I do look forward to it. Please, if you haven't done so already, like and subscribe. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time.